Well, this morning, former White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain became the latest Biden administration official to testify before the House Oversight Committee. According to one committee member, Klain was credible and didn't avoid a single question. Now, Ron Klain ran former President Biden's White House for 2 years and was brought in to help Biden prepare for that what became disastrous debate. Klain said afterwards he cut debate prep short because Biden was exhausted, out of it, and that he didn't understand his own talking points. What House Republicans want to know is if there were all of those red flags before the debate, why didn't Biden's team pull the plug?
I have always found it baffling that those inner sanctum, the Politburo who had protected Joe Biden from himself for so long, including Jill Biden, allowed him to go on stage in that state. You could tell from the minute he walked on stage, he was like a deer in the spotlight. He was looking around, lost, and the minute he opened his mouth, you could tell it wasn't going to be a good night for him.
So, and in those questions about why that debate performance was so disastrous, we have a couple reasons now. Well, his son gave this reason for that poor debate performance. Watch.
I know exactly what happened in that debate. He flew around the world, basically, the mileage that he could have flown around the world 3 times. Yeah. He's 81 years old. He's tired as shit. They give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights. And it feeds into every story that anybody wants to tell.
So, Doctor, a lot of people have questions on timing. So talk to us about the potential effects of Ambien if you've taken them the night prior, which is when you're supposed to, I think. But then what happens? Describe what that would look like.
It's called a sedative hypnotic. But before I answer it, I want to say that for 4 years, I was questioning the cognitive state of President Biden. And cognitive reserve comes into play here, because if you or I took an Ambien, we'd be fine the next day. But if someone is already having deep trouble, it might last longer. You might still be groggy. You might have dizziness. You might have out-of-body experiences. Oh. It's called a sedative hypnotic. But there's no way I am blaming this whole debate performance on one Ambien, which he probably shouldn't have been taking at the age of 81, by the way. I don't give it to elderly people like that. It's not appropriate. And it's certainly not something you would give right before a debate. It might be something you would give the night before, but it would likely wear off. The real question is why the media was calling these gaffes for 4 years while the rest of us were like, these are periods of disorientation. These are periods of loss of memory. These were a stumbling gait. This is somebody with a heart problem that likely had a brain problem that was really submerged under these reported physicals every year that never said the word MRI or cognitive testing.
Not to mention the prostate cancer. And
right.
Jerry, so let's dig into that a little further. The whole point is perhaps the greater revelation, I argue, is not the Ambien. It's that there's all of these things that we didn't know about, that no one told us about, and certainly the physicians didn't tell the American people about.
Well, it raises questions, right? Why was the physician giving him Ambien when the American Geriatric Society says, do not give that to elderly people because they can fall, it can confuse them, it has really bad effects. And the fact that he was getting it, to me, is really concerning. Why? Why was he getting it? Was he getting it legitimately? Was he getting it from the White House physician? We have lots of questions already about that White House physician.
Yeah. And Lisa, to that point, so a lot of these voluntary arrivals to these interviews have resulted in a lot of pleading the fifth. But here, as now we understand, Ron Klain answered everything. So what do you make of that, and what do you expect that we'll learn?
Well, you know what, we'll see, right? And you're right. We have seen people plead the fifth. And I interviewed Oversight Chairman James Comer about that. And he said, look, there's this broader narrative. Oh, why don't you just give immunity to some of these people, get them to talk? And he said, well, there's challenges with that with me on the Oversight Committee, because I would have to get 2/3 vote on that committee, which means Democrats would have to join in Republicans in granting that immunity. And we know they're not going to do that. So he said what he could do is produce this report, hand it over to Attorney General Pam Bondi, and then she could potentially grant immunity. The last thing I'll add is I discussed with Senator Rand Paul for my podcast about how this could all materialize. And he said Anthony Fauci's pardon was signed with an auto pen. So what he wants to happen is the Department of Justice to charge him for lying before Congress about gain of function, to test if the auto pen and that pardon will hold up in court.
Oh, that's
so
interesting.
we might see that could be the direction that a lot of this heads in.
Look, we don't know for certain if he was given Ambien at any point, whether it was before that, debate or not. What we do know is that his son Hunter, who is the most destructive thing on the planet for his father right now when he talks, he clearly only has himself in mind, Hunter, has gone on record and said, well, I wasn't really sure if he was taking it at that moment. You don't just pull that one out of the sky, especially for a man who's 80-something. So I went to the zolpidem tartrate website and started doing a deeper dive, and also to check with DEA. It's classified as a federally controlled substance by DEA.
Correct.
You called it a sedative hypnotic. You got my attention because when you look at the risks and the effects, dependence and tolerance, long-term use can lead to physical dependence, meaning you can't fall asleep and you need higher doses to achieve that effect. But this is really disturbing. Emily, you ask about next day impairment. That's on the list. Patients should be cautious about engaging in activities which require full mental alertness. You mean representing the United States of America and also being at a presidential debate? I would think you would need full alertness and awareness in that case. I can't wait to find out. And look, they need to bring that doctor back up. He's in 4th stage prostate cancer.
Right.
Well, where was the doctor for the first 3 stages? And it's you've told me, one of the easier ones to diagnose, unfortunately, prostate cancer, but it helps you treat it earlier. And then what about all those multiple visits by the Parkinson's doctor? I just think that we have enough questions now that pleading the fifth isn't going to do it. I don't know what more they can do legally, but this is looking more to me like something that belongs in a courtroom rather. And you would know better than I would. So I pitch to you, Emily.
Yeah. Well, we got to move on. So this will be an ongoing conversation for sure.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.